blow out sage and shit crystals. Tight shit. To win the day, we gotta learn how to follow the leader. In order to lead, you must learn how to follow. That's the key to you winning the day. That's the key to you coming into the aspects of you understanding your day, winning the day, mastering the day, mastering where you want to be, how you want to be there, and how you want to grow. As always, Divine Rise, Grand Rising, blessed be to the day. May it be everything that you require to create within the authenticity that you desire inside of yourself. Follow the leader. The point of convergence, that point of you coming into this space, the point of you coming into the now. Remember, yesterday we talked about the depth is only in the now. The depth is only in the now. So now we're looking at the aspects of that point of convergence that's bringing us, because by design, we heard it in Avengers. If you've seen Avengers, you heard, remember what Loki said? We have a need for leadership and guidance. We have a need for leadership and guidance. Something that I thought about yesterday after I said it during the God Hour show. It's out now. The God Hour show is out now. That I thought about the God Hour show is how we subscribe to things. When you're subscribing to something, you're subscribing to it based upon your emotion. So your consistency into what you subscribe in is based on the emotion that you tap in, the emotions that are tapped into. So let's use it for an example. If you sit there and look at your Netflix, you got Netflix, Hulu, streaming services. Why do you subscribe to these services? Because they have multiple layers that will cater to your emotion. If you want to feel happy, you got some happiness on there. You got anime on there or whatever. If you want to get that little bit of scariness in your life, they got the horror flicks in there. If you want something that's a psychological thriller, they got that in there. You subscribe based on the emotion that you want to feel at the time. This false sense of you having choices. But here comes the main key that we understand how we can move in every space. I'm going to ask a question. Are you the authority in your life? Who is the authority in your life? Ask yourself that simple question. Who is the authority in your life? Now, you may be, before you even want to say it and want to speak it out loud, you may be a part of the administration of your life. You might be part of the administration, a part of the council. You might be the general of the cleanup in your life. But I can guarantee you for a lot of us, when we're going through these phases in our lives, based on the hypervigilance that we've been getting into, and then stuck between the hypervigilance or the high alert to always scan for dangers and create these aspects of, if I'm not happy in the house, I got to go outside the house to go find happiness. And if it's too happy or it's too even in the house or it's too balanced in the house, I got to go outside the house. You're subscribing to your emotion. Every time that you feel the need to have to go outside of yourself to go get something, you're subscribing to the emotional aspect into that space. So guess who's the authority in your life? Your emotions. Your emotions become that authority figure in your life. Your emotions become the authority figure in your life. I'm going to give you a little breakdown how your emotions become an authority figure in your life. Think about the relationship with your mother or your father, or the mother or the father figure in your life. They were the first ones that instilled in your life the way that you subscribe to your emotions. Remember, I've said it before, there's only two emotions. Everything else is a derivative or the feelings. You can't control the feeling, but you can get in control of the emotion. There's only two emotions, love and fear. Love and fear. Everything else is the byproduct or the feeling that you will emulate or imitate within that space based on where you're at. So if I'm subscribed to my emotions and I haven't learned how to get myself into balance with my anger issues or my depression, or I don't understand what my depression is, or I don't understand why I have this rage complex. If I don't understand where it comes from, how can I work on it? If I want to come into this thought process. We take this role. I want to be free. I want to be independent. But independence, remember I've told you, breakdown of this word, independence means you are independent, or you are in the requirement for something to be the catalyst in your life. You need something to be the catalyst. You need an external catalyst or driving force in your life to do everything that you do, to submit to the attributes of the definition that you've given yourself, to whatever you get anchored to. And this is when we're building these anchors in our lives and we get stuck in that space. It's okay, because this is a part of that learning process. This is that internal work. So I ask you that question again. Who's the authority in your life? Who's the authority in your life? I'm going to give you a couple key cues to let you understand how to understand who's the authority in your life. Authority, remember, is not based on control. Authority is based on the aspects of the intimate power, the intimacy with your own power. Being in tune with your own power. That is where your authority lies. In the intimate, in tune and engineering with your own power. That means understanding your power, bringing yourself into balance, being self-aware. So, outside of you, if we think authority based upon control, that's based upon the subscription to the emotion or the feeling or what I need to be able to do within that space. Give you a nice little example. If my mindset, for example, I go to the gym Monday through Thursday. I work out Monday through Thursday. Now, whether I go directly to the gym or for a little bit of time, for like this a little bit of time, like push-ups, crunches, stretches, yoga, being at the house, allowing myself to be in that space, that's not based on emotion. That's not based on emotion. The intimacy with me within my power of myself allows me to program my day and to be able to make my day the most beneficial moment in my life. I'm going to win this day because I have nothing that's going to stop me, and I am aware that there will be variables in my space that will trigger me to gain deeper into the depth in the now. I only can find that in the now. Now, if I go into a space and I'm like, if someone was like, yo, you ain't been to the gym in a couple weeks or a couple days, but like, and I use external quotients, yes, they are true. Remember, because their truth has no limitation, so there's no such thing as lies. The lie is outside of the boundary that you put into yourself. Because everything can be true, because you can build upon anything once you remove we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that on Friday. I don't want to get too deep into that because we're going to go off the subject. But it might be on subject. Don't know. But yeah, putting yourself in the space where you're at now, when you set a boundary for yourself, if you subscribe to that boundary based on the emotion that you're feeling on the time, it's similar to when they tell you, don't go to the grocery store when you're hungry. Don't go to the grocery store when you're hungry. Don't do this whenever you're sad. Don't make bets based on your emotions when emotions are in that catalyst. Don't do these things in that. Hunger, negative aspect, feminine. So do not the emotional aspect. So do not do things based on do not subscribe to the emotional outlet. Do not subscribe to the emotional outlet. That means whenever you're making a decision, it's best to bring yourself into balance before you make that decision. That means if somebody pissed you off and you say fuck them and everything about them, now when you're not mad, you're going to start, that's when the guilt will kick in. That's when the reverting process kicks back in, because you're no longer angry, because you've given them the right to anchor to, remember, he who controls your emotions is your master. So if you get pissed off at somebody and you're no longer mad, you've given them the authority over your emotion. You've given them authority over your emotion to be mad. You've given them authority over your emotion to be depressed or stay in that state of depression, to stay within the feeling of fear. There's something that you still fear. You allow them to master you, and you allow them to master the filters or the distractions that will keep you from tapping into what you fear, that shadow. Remember, everything goes back to your shadow. So really look at yourself and ask yourself throughout the day, who is the authority over me? And if you would like to, go ahead and go watch, go on YouTube. We watched it again last night. Go on YouTube and watch the Kanye West full-length video of Runaway Love when he did the whole full-length movie with the bird and the angel, and you will see, nigga, this nigga's battling his ego, and I'm gonna end up doing a breakdown of that a little bit later on. But I'm gonna do a breakdown of that so you can understand. We put that together. That's type of shit we don't be doing in the secret society. But putting yourself in that space of what controls you, what moves you. A lot of times we move into this space trying to win our day, trying to get through the day based on something that has to drive us. We wake up with something that has to drive us. That means we wake up with something, we wake up naturally in debt to our emotion because we subscribed into it in that way. We wake up in debt to our emotion. When you wake up in debt to your emotion, it's a balance that you will never, ever pay off. When you wake up to being indebted to your emotion, it's a balance that you can never pay off. When you go to rest under the guise to run away from the debt of your emotions, I guarantee when you wake up, that same debt will still be there. This is when you're not understanding you're not the authority of your life. This goes into the aspects of that hyper-masculine and the hyper-feminine. The hyper-masculine and the hyper-feminine, which are the wounded masculine and the wounded feminine aspects, stuck within a barrier of themselves based on the ego. And then you start moving forward into this narrative with yourself. So you tell yourself these things. You put yourself into these space. You need that purpose. You need that ain't shit individuals in your life because they serve a purpose for you because you haven't learned your purpose. They serve an assignment, but you haven't learned your purpose, so you don't understand their assignment. You getting upset because they're acting a certain way. I can't believe they act like this and do this and do this and say this, and they're not acting like this, or they're not on this, they're not on their square. Think about it like this. If they can keep you off their square, they're achieving their assignment. If they can keep you off your square, they're achieving your assignment. If they can take you outside of your character that you don't even know yet, if they can take you off your square, that means you have not learned the authenticity of your square of yourself. If they can take you off your square, if they can force you to make a move or make a decision based on this is the reason I'm not going to do this, or this is the reason I'm not going to do this, it is something based on external, you have some internal work to do. It's okay. You got some work you got to do. I used to do stupid shit like that. I used to be in the space where, like, you ask the question to yourself of, like, who's all over there? Well, since they all over there and old buddy driving, that nigga don't like to leave, and that nigga like the attention from them motherfuckers, I'm not gonna go. What's the real reason that you're not going? You said it, you just didn't want to accept it. I don't like the people that are over there. Something about their energy. You feeling the need to go because your homeboy went doesn't really do anything for you. You wanting to go because your homegirl went doesn't have nothing to do with you. You trying to remain loyal to what? You remaining loyal to your emotion. Because I guarantee the friend that's in your life that doesn't like that person and they wanted to go start some shit, they're going in there based on fear, anger, sadness. They took their man in the 3rd grade, whatever it may be. That's what they're going over there for. You're subscribing to that emotional output. So whenever you go into that space and you wondering why now you're itchy, while you're upset, while you mad, somebody else is feeding off of your information, your light, and putting you in a new statute of limitations. The only reason I'm going to go over there is because you win. The only reason because you can come over here, only reason I allow you to come over here is because I'm still cool with your mama. Stop giving yourself these external excuses to give your emotional authority over you. You have one choice. You have one or two choices. Either you're gonna heal or you're gonna repeat. If you feel a part of you is gonna come back or repeat some shit, that's the shit that you need to work on. That's your key. When we think about our spirit leading us, that's how your spirit's going to lead you. Grand Rising, that's how your spirit's going to lead you. Your spirit's going to lead you via that port. So if you feel like there's something that you need to address, it's going to come up when you need to address it. If something's coming up that you need to address, it's going to come up because you need to address it. Everything that is time for you to tap into and work on, it always comes up. It takes you being honest with yourself, being open with yourself, and allowing yourself to go into that space to deal with it. That's why it always comes up. You don't get a million examples. I just want one sign that this is going to be the best. This is going to be the man of my dreams. And now you got all of a sudden, you looking at, now all of a sudden you got this guilt-ridden trip of my hair don't look right, my nails ain't done, the house ain't clean, and all this other shit. Guess what? Those are your signs. If you fix those aspects, it's not about fixing when you get that answer or that sign. It's about, that's the potential to lead you to your truth. So if your house is not in order, and the only reason that you want to keep your crib in order is when you got a man, guess what happens? You subscribe to that emotional aspect of that thought. So guess what happens? Now you get comfortable, and then you stop doing the things that you used to do, and then because you in the space of, well, I got it now. Because you stop subscribing to your emotions. I'm giving you the keys to understanding what has authority over your life. I can guarantee you're a part of the administration. That's nice. You're a part of the general. You're the general cleanup for most of the times in your life. Because you have an emotional bout in your life. You get upset. You want to go break things, throw things around, argue, say fuck you, fuck your mama, fuck this person, fuck that person, whatever it may be. And then guess what? When you cool back down, guess who has to come out and clean that shit up? Guess who has to come back out and clean that shit up? You. Yo, you let your inner child run them up. Guess who has to go clean it up? You. You got to go clean it up. You got to go face your boss in the morning. You got to go face him like, I'm sorry. I've just been going through some things and it's just been really getting to me. That's nice. That's cool. That's fine. That's dandy. Stop subscribing to your emotions. Stop subscribing to your emotions. They got that one app that tells you when you subscribe to some shit and they cut off the subscriptions. That's what you're going through in this state when you go through your shadow work. Stop subscribing to your emotions. Stop allowing your emotions to run the show. That shit ain't normal. Your emotions give you the false sense of being independent, but you'll never become self-sufficient. You'll never take on the ownership mentality. You can't take on the ownership mentality if you're not willing to take accountability. That's where ownership comes from. Accountability, responsibility, in the acknowledging, the acceptance, in the apology, and going through that forgiveness process. That everything leads back to that. As I'm saying, everything leads back to that shadow work. We got used to this space with ourselves and reminded in that hypervigilance of trying to be the best, whatever definition we gave ourselves. But now that you're changed, guess what? That definition changed. You're no longer, I'll use that as an example for myself. I'm no longer the best son or the best brother. I still am the best brother because I'm the best brother to myself. I'm no longer under the guise of the aspects of needing or wanting for my mother to apologize for things, so I became my mother. I deaded that aspect and centered them with it. That's the divine dark mother for me. That's my dark mother archetype. I've always talked about death. I've always been into the aspects of death and moving in that space. So I became my mother. I became the lineage as you heal the lineage. As you start healing yourself, this is how you understand how you become all of these things. And then you start understanding why they would worship it as their external aspect. Worship, they're just simply subscribing to the emotion that they feel when they think about it. So think about it in your life. What do you subscribe to that makes you feel good, but ain't making you any better? What do you subscribe to that's making you feel good, but not any better? It's okay. I just want you to be the fucking best. I desire you to be the best. That is the only requirement. I desire you to exceed all the statues of limitations by way of identifying your old limitations. I want you to identify them. I want you to sit there in that space with them. That's what you're going to do when you come to me. And that's what we're going to work on. Throughout this week, every no matter how many days, there's 7 days in a week, don't matter. There's only one day that matters, and that's today. Because whether you're going to invest into the changes, whether you are looking back and observing the investments you made into those changes to expand, whether you're understanding the undercurrents of the night before, the stuff in the darkness, and understanding who's the authority, winning and becoming the authority, that Odin figure in your life, or whether you going forward from there to go into aspects of shaping, embracing the love and releasing, and then going back through your cycle. What are you learning? What are you learning about yourself through every single day? That's how you celebrate the day. Interested within the services? GoDCoAlchemistLLC.com, or hit me up in the inbox for everything from the shadow work consultation, all the way down to the readings, down to the services and packages such as spiritual baths and all that good shit. I want you to be the best. I desire you to be the best. That's the only requirement, and that's the only one requirement to tap into the higher aspects of yourself. I love you. We love us. Ashe.